Hey, this is Produce with Pamela for Blue Book Services, and as you might notice, I'm at Walmart in Cedar Park, Texas, which is very close to where I live. Walmart had a big announcement today about its Produce 2.0 starting to roll out into stores. So I took a look at the B-roll, took a look at the photos, and I thought, wait a minute, I've already seen a lot of this stuff. I was actually here in my store in Cedar Park. There's another one down the road. We've seen a lot of these new initiatives going into the stores. And actually, I happened to have a really nice long stop at a store in Bastrop, Texas, back in September when I had to be there because my battery died in my car and I got to spend a couple of hours waiting on automotive to honor the warranty that I had on it. I digress. Anyway, I was watching them flip the store. Basically, they had already done the produce department. All of the new signage and everything was in the produce department, but they were moving health and beauty and they were packing up toys and just completely changing where they're putting everything in the store. So I had a lot of time to walk around that produce department, and there were a few things that I noticed, and a few things that I noticed here in this store. Every time in the last 12 or 13 years that I've spent observing and critiquing Walmart and other retailers in the fresh produce industry, is particularly with their fresh produce, there's been a couple of things that I've always hoped for that would happen when we have one of these overhauls. And is it happening in Produce 2.0? Some of them are, but some of them aren't. So just decided to hop in the car and come take a look at this one to see what changes that maybe I hadn't noticed before. This store does have segregated organics. So they've always had like a piece of the wet rack dedicated to organics, and now there's actually a couple of RPCs, a dry table for some organics that are directly in front of the wet rack. It's small, but it is dedicated, and it's a destination for those shoppers who actually prefer to have their organics separated. You see a lot more of the quad tables, the low tables with what looks like it's dummied up, but it's supposed to look like plentiful displays of things like, they always at this store have onions, avocados, tomatoes, and limes. I'm almost every time I come to the store, they have that display. But they had another one around the corner that was actually pomegranates and prickly pears, and I think to myself, only in Texas, right? But a few other things that I really hope for when I see these overhauls is going back to the basics in merchandising. And this store has some peaches, and it is November 20th. The Thanksgiving ad dropped today, and there's still California stone fruit in here. How is this possible? Who is eating stone fruit from California this time of year? Actually, I took a couple of pictures because this stuff needs to get thrown in the trash, because if it's even edible, it's got to be immortal or something like that. You're going to turn into Spider-Man if you eat the peaches that you buy here. Another thing that I've often critiqued Walmart for is having redundant displays. And in this store, there's actually not a lot of that going on. There may be a secondary display of bagged apples or something like that, but this is the time of year to have secondary displays of bagged apples. One of the things that I saw in there, though, is there's a shocking lack of citrus in there. There's maybe 8 feet devoted to citrus in here, and it's in November. This is when citrus really starts to hit stores in plentiful supplies. There's actually out of stocks all over in here, and that's something that Walmart's struggled with. There's only maybe 3 or 4 bags of halos in there. This time of year, there should be plentiful displays of mandarin oranges. A lot of consumers are looking for them. The Camp Halo Head just started. There's a whole lot of advertising support, and you should really be seeing those in plentiful supply in the store. And not to mention, I'm in Texas, and the Rio Grande Valley has started to harvest citrus, and there's not very much Texas citrus in there. And if you go across the street to H-E-B, there's going to be bins and bins of it. So I'd love to see a little more dedication to local produce, a little more space devoted to things that are in season, which is apples and citrus, of course, right now. And Walmart should really be killing it in that. Every time they announce a new initiative talking about improving their fresh produce, I'm always hopeful, with measured skepticism, because broad sweeping initiatives rarely have the trickle down all the way into the store. and in-store execution. So let's take a look around this Walmart at some of the things that we saw here in Cedar Park, Texas, but also in Bastrop, Texas. Again, this is Produce with Pamela for Blue Book Services, taking a look at Walmart.